Hi, everybody. Yes, it's Tim again, your doctor of dispensationalism, with a word from the Word today. It's kind of an overcast day in sublimity so far today, which is unusual for July. Usually it's beautiful sunshine every day. Now, October to May is pretty much overcast all the time but the summertime is beautiful here, and it's unusual. But I kind of wandered into the book of Job the last time, and I thought I may share a little bit of what my understanding is of Job, because a lot of people that don't quite get it when they look into this book. Okay, chapter 1 and 2, we understand there's this grudge match between God and the devil, and the last chapter, okay, everything's restored to Job, we get that, but in between, there's all of this poetry in a format we're not familiar with, and people often wonder what's really going on here in this book. And I can't clarify that completely, but maybe I can get you started in the right direction anyway, because this book is precious to me. It really is. It goes all the way back to many years ago when I was a young man and going through a time of depression and difficulty, I would say, and kind of questioning what in the world is God doing in my life. And there was one day, I've always been a walker. This was on a Saturday. I went for a long walk in an area I hadn't been to before. And there was a chapel I came upon, and I thought I'd explore this a little bit, and the door was open, so I went on in. There was nobody there in the chapel, but I went in. I sat down in the last pew on the right side of the chapel, and there was a Bible there. And so I opened it up, cracked it open at random, and it opened up to Job chapter 1, and I started to read. And I'm not sure how long I was there in that chapter, but I ended up reading the entire book of Job there in one sitting in that chapel, and it changed my life. It really did, and I began to understand the sovereignty of God in a way I never had before after reading that, and that's why it'll always be a precious book to me. Now we know it starts out in chapter 1 and chapter 2 with God and the devil, and they're going back and forth, and maybe I could read that a little bit of it for you. He starts out with a description of Job, the greatest man of the East, and it talks about his wealth and his cattle and his sheep that he has, and this wonderful, joyful family. He has 10 kids. The kids all get along, and he loses it all in one day. But it says in verse 6, there came a day when the sons of God came to present themselves before the Lord, and Satan also came among them. Now, a lot of people look at this and think, okay, these sons of God, they must be angels. In fact, the NIV translates that as angels, and then it gives a little footnote that says in the Hebrew, it's sons of God, which to me is one more reason not to use the NIV. If you're translating the Hebrew into English, and the Hebrew says sons of God, I think that probably should be in your translation, but it's a whole different issue. But if you think they were angels, you're welcome to do that. I'm not convinced. I'm not going to start a new denomination over it, but I think the New Testament kind of explains that a little bit. There are only a few places in the Old Testament where this term is used, and most of them are unclear. One is clear to me anyway, and that's Genesis chapter 6, where it talks about the sons of God. The way they describe there to me is uh, definitely not referring to angels, because they marry the daughters of men, and something angels do not do according to Jesus. But anyway, whole different issue. But the New Testament, I think, does shed some light on that. For example, the New Testament says that as many as received him, to them gave he the power to become the sons of God. The New Testament says, behold, manner of love the Father has bestowed upon us, that we should be called the sons of God. In the genealogy that we have in Luke, Adam is described as the son of God. And so I think in general, the sons of God are God's people. And even in Job, where it says that the sons of God rejoiced at creation, um, I think it's talking about Adam and Eve. They were a part of creation on day 6. And the had the unique privilege of being the only human being so far who's had the chance to see God's creation unmarred by sin. And I can picture them rejoicing over that. But I think that's what's going on here, that these are God's people in heaven that come before him. From time to time, he's interested in what's going on. And maybe one person might say, I'm taking harp lessons. And maybe somebody else might say that, I'm writing poetry. It never worked on this earth, but somehow it's all coming together now. Maybe somebody would say, I'm part of a study group, and we're trying to figure out some theological issues that we're going through right now. Lapsarianism, is it infra or is it supra? We're just working on that. But and along with them, of course, Satan is right there, the accuser of the brethren. I can just picture him reminding God of what miserable sinners these people were back when they were on earth. And then they get into Job. Have you considered my servant Job? And he is on earth right now, Satan. And he's described here as there's none like him on the earth, a perfect and an upright man, and feareth God and escheweth evil. He hated evil, loved God. And of course, Satan doesn't understand that. He says, you think Job serves you for nothing? You've blessed him and you made him rich. Of course, he's going to serve you. You take away his stuff, he'll curse you. And of course, that doesn't work. And so he says, okay, you touch his health, then he'll curse you. And so God allows Satan to do that. And is it preserve his life? You can't kill him, but go ahead, do your best. Interesting, isn't it, that sometimes these discussions happen that way? To me, it punches some holes in prosperity theory when it comes to the gospel. And, no, God's will is not for everybody to be rich or healthy. And his ultimate goal for you is to be conformed to the image of Christ. And that's true for Job as well. And I think Job was at a place in his life where he was ready for another step of progress. And this is the tool that God was going to use in order for that to happen. Two things come out of this. There's good news and bad news. The bad news, I guess, or the good news is that the devil, when he came to God, had to ask permission before he could do anything to Job. Bad news is God said, all right, go ahead. Kind of like with Peter. Jesus told Peter, you're going to deny me 3 times. And Peter stood there before the Son of God and said, no, Jesus, you're wrong. It's not going to happen. And then Jesus explained that Satan has desired to sift you with wheat. The same conflict is going on. The bad news, though, is Jesus said, yeah, I think some sifting would do this guy some good right now. God said, yes, it can happen. And maybe that'll help explain some of the things going on in your life right now. And if you're wondering, what is God trying to accomplish? It doesn't seem like anything is working well. My family is not doing well. Our financial situation is not doing well. My health is not good. What is God doing? Where is He in all of this? Well, it could be like Job, that maybe you're at a place in your life where God is willing to sacrifice some of those things in order for His ultimate goal for you, helping you be conformed to the image of Christ. And that's why, like Job, we can thank God for those things and realize that, what, I'm going to leave this world with nothing anyway. I might as well thank God while I'm here for the life that He's given me, and even thank God for some of the pain that we go through sometimes. He only allows it if it's for your good. Difficult things to think about. I'll tell you what, we'll take this up again in a couple of days when we get back at this. But until then, thanks for tuning in. Hope to see you again soon.